Vike pwaka Luimbo.
Guys, no Christopher. Hello, welcome to Bonano TV. Today's trending stories show on Bonano TV. My name is John Scasonso, and I am broadcasting out of the Hawkeye state of Iowa, right in the middle of the United States. Yeah, I'm excited to be here to chat with you and my friends about what is going on in Zambia today. We want to discuss among the topics the load shedding issue in Zambia, citizens empowerment applications that are due this Friday, and then we will also attempt to review the New Dawn scorecard for 2022 and other things. And so it's going to be riveting. It's going to be interesting. And I want you to invite people to see it. I want you to share this broadcast with other people. And I'll wait for us to have more people come around so we can have a more substantive discussion. In the meantime, I just want to remember the Kuilamba, Kwesukundola, Kukwa Mushiri Bonano, Kuilamba, Equest Nakokulimfum. I want to play. I want you to listen to Mlemela Boys.
Kuilamba ekwesu nakukulimfu, kuilamba ekwesu nakukulimfu, kuilamba ekwesu nakukulimfu, kuilamba ekwesu nakukulimfu. Balesa nifu, manduweni nifu, bamachia nifu, bachigola nifu, bankana nifu, bakalilele nifu, bamushiri nifu, shonseshi nifu. Kuilamba ekwesu nakukulimfu. Mwebanyanji ipindi Afrika ya kulima, mwebanyanji ipindi Afrika ya kulima. Abagesu mu Zambia bose barishimye, nomba kwebo chido ichitupapeshe, bigatane bose kuna kwesu kuilamba, kuilamba ekwesu nakukulimfu. Ukawe tata, ukawe mayo, ukawe nkwasu, ukawe nkashiyamo, ukulima kuwewe, mwana moluwa, ipindi nomba ya Afrika, kwende kwense ukulima, kuilamba ekwesu nakukulimfu. Nomandi kwite, sani bonakao. Nomandi kwite, sani bonakao. Sani po manchacha, sani nebanka. Sani po shonongo, sani nebandure. Sani po akaonge, sani nebamushe. Kuilamba ekwesu nakukulimfu. Sani po manchacha, sani neba machia, sani po shonongo, sani neba chikora, sani po akaonge, sani neba kalilele. Kuilamba ekwesu nakukulimfu, kuilamba ekwesu nakukulimfu, kuilamba ekwesu nakukulimfu, kuilamba ekwesu nakukulimfu. Kulula. Tutakaya. Susa. 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 Susa matamu. Watamusa. Nama susa matamu. Watamusa. Kutamukwe. Kone panukogo. Kutamukwe. Kone pankoto. Kutamukwe. Kone panukogo. Susa. 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 Kulula. Tenuna kaya. Why?
Wow, that's beautiful from Lemena Boys, and that is Kwilamba Ekwesu Nakokurimfumu. Yeah, so welcome to this broadcast. I have a friend of mine here who has joined me, Dr. Mtale. Let me add him to the stream. Yeah, so Dr. Mtale, welcome. How are you?
Thank you, Dr. Gasonso. I'm all right. How are you doing?
I am fabulous. I am fabulous.
Great, great.
I feel restful. Do you have load shedding over there today?
Well, yes, we had during the day. I think we had 2 hours of load shedding, as far as I can remember, from 6 to 8:30, and then from 18 hours to 20 hours. So it is quite something common now in Cape Town and South Africa in general.
Yeah. So in South Africa, load shedding has become a commonplace. So,
Yes.
what is the main problem? That why is there load shedding in a big and stronger economy like South Africa? What's going on?
What's going on here, Dr. Kasonso, is that you remember that South Africa, they don't have rivers like we do, so they don't have hydroelectricity. What they have is coal-powered. But you also know that that these these power stations were built a long time when probably the population was very low.
Mm-hmm.
So after 1994,
Mm-hmm.
A lot, and due to that transition from the apartheid government, which did not include many black people in terms of electricity,
Mm-hmm.
at 1994 were added, which means they now got electricity in their homes. So what's happening currently is that there are too many people who are beneficiaries of ESCOM. ESCOM is the equivalent of ZESCO in Zambia.
Yeah.
So there are too many who are beneficiaries, probably most of them not even paying their monthly dues.
Mm-hmm.
But also the other thing is that most of these power plants,
Mm-hmm.
they are too old and it's very difficult to maintain. So they are breaking down all the time. And nearly all of them, they use coal.
Mm-hmm.
maybe unlike in Zambia where we are using hydro, here they use coal. And most of these are too old power plants. As a result, they are breaking all the time. So it is the population has increased from the time when these power plants were made,
Mm-hmm.
but also maintenance costs have become too high. So it is they use coal as well as diesel. And as you know, that fuel has also become very expensive. So I think these are the major two factors why there is a lot of load shedding in South Africa.
Would you transpose that to what is going on in Zambia, or what, in your opinion, is going on? Because some of the explanations that I'm hearing about load shedding in Zambia at this point in the story of our country are just not
Yes.
making sense. So, what do you think is going on?
Well, from what I've read, Dr. Kasonso,
Mm-hmm.
and what I've heard is
Mm-hmm.
that the Kariba Dam has gone, the water level has gone down. So when God says there is no rain, it means we have no electricity. What it means that the water level has gone down to be able to produce enough electricity for the country. And I think with that one, you can't do much about it. I think that is one of the major reasons why we don't have electricity in Zambia. But I think it is also because of perhaps a lack of foresight from the many governments that have been in power in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Because if certainly we know that there are times when there is droughts, we
Mm-hmm.
should be looking for other forms of producing power for the nation.
Mm-hmm.
For instance, we could be going into green energy,
Mm-hmm.
where we use more of solar panels, making sure that and solar panels, wind energy, and other forms of way of getting electricity for the nation. Because with global warming, it's going to be quite frequent not to have rain.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, Dr. Kasonso, it's lack of foresight by our governments
Mm-hmm.
not to tap into other forms of energy.
Yeah, I think I like your point on lack of foresight. Because if you look at the humongous debt that we have on the books of Zambia today, a significant portion of that were borrowings to invest in the energy facilities and infrastructure around energy. So if all they had to do was to just borrow billions of dollars and plant it in hydroelectricity and not other forms of electricity, then they are part of the problem that the country is facing today.
Yes,
Yeah, they are
yes,
part of the problem that we are facing today. Um, we all know that when the electricity is not available, already in Zambia, our productivity capacity is very low. And now
it
you
is.
couple that without going for hours without power, the productive capacity even goes much, much lower. And I think also that there must be a review of the kind of infrastructure that we're using, because I don't see the talk of lack of water and stuff like that. Of course, it's understandable. We needed to upgrade the infrastructure for energy in the country because of the spike in population. Right
Yes,
now, we are roughly around 20 million people. So around 20 million people, um, around 20 million people. That is a lot of people. That's a lot of people. And how many wattage do 20 million people, or can a 20 million powered economy need? I think the lack of foresight and planning is a serious factor.
Yeah.
There is a contribution here, Dr. Mtale. I want you to look at it and make a comment on it. Dr. Charles Cholo says, we are back blaming God for ZESCO's incompetence. No, we need holistic solutions for this perennial problem. So what do you think? What do you think should be our primary, our thrust? What do you think should be our solutions to this situation?
Well, I think Dr. Choa or Mr. Choa is right that we can't blame God for what's happening now, especially with VESCO. But it is true that definitely when there is no rain,
Yeah.
we 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 do not produce as much electricity as we are supposed to produce when there is rain.
Yeah.
So that's a natural disaster. We can't do anything about that. But as I've mentioned already, that there are other ways uh, in which we can probably produce more electricity. We can go for instance, um, enrichment of uraniums. It is dangerous, but Western worlds or countries have used electricity, enrichment of uranium for the purpose of electricity. And I think Russia is very good at that. Zambia has been a good friend of Russia for a long time, so perhaps they can tap into uranium. And Zambia has got a lot of deposits of uranium, which can be used for good purposes. I know that people can say it is dangerous and so forth,
Mhm.
but we can learn how to work with uranium. And eventually, this is the direction African countries are going to go at one stage. But also, let me put it this way, that we can tap into green energy.
Mhm.
We can tap into, we have plenty of sun in Zambia and we have plenty of land. Why don't we get solar panels and make sure that we cover chunks and chunks of land with solar panels so that we can supply at least many homes, thousands of homes with solar panel electricity. I guess we even have wind. We can get wind energy. We
Yeah.
can get those I think the I I don't know what to call them, but those are stuff that are moved by wind, and you produce electricity from that.
Mhm.
And yeah, there are many other
Yeah.
ways
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
can produce
Yeah.
electricity.
Yeah, I think I agree with you on many of the options that you have put up, especially we have even a green energy ministry. So uh,
Yes.
let them come out, let them tell us what are they doing with the prospective investment and the ability of the nation to attract investment in that area. So what is going on? What is happening? Can they come out of the shell and try and share with us? So explain to the country how we are going to get around this issue of load shedding. Certainly we need energy, but I have concerns about the nuclear option. Yeah. We have some support here. Even Beatrice Sanga says, I concur with my brother. Solar is the key to go. So we have a green energy ministry. So what are they doing about it?
Yeah.
How much investments have we received? What's the power grid for solar projected in the next couple of years? So we need to hear answers from those in leadership about those things, because yes, we know they are only a year and a half in the government, but there must be a serious blueprint on how the nation is going to navigate through these challenges. But also, I want to agree with Dr. Chowa here, who says, no, uranium with our incompetence will have
Mm.
Chernobyl disaster in no time. Yeah, that's the issue I had, because in Zambia, we have this tendency where we can build the structures, but we don't have a maintenance budget.
Yes.
Yeah, and if we start enriching, we introduce the new, what I'm calling the nuclear the uranium. I think we can easily have a disaster that probably might wipe out even the country or a section of the country. So, those types of energy solutions are very expensive to maintain. If you cannot maintain the cables and the old machines at ZESCO, where are you going to get the capacity to maintain a nuclear reactor? Where is the budget going to come from? So nuclear plant vamutale kuti chavafa kwati nichintwana kwachirilomba, more than you are even able to generate out of it. So I am also not for that option. So but there is an interesting twist to this, Dr. Mtale.
Yes.
Ba PF baletolauka sana nombo kusala kula uteko na bufiru wa kuteka, because na baleta load shedding. Ba PF obutwaleka na bona load shedding mpaka bafuma po. Lelo baisalo kanibaka na besa. No buteko na bufiru wa shanyoko and things like that. So what do you think about this negative energy from the opposition about this issue? Is it, do you think it's constructive?
Look, as you have said, the PF, they were there. We experienced them, and they can claim that they have built some power stations, a few of them during their time, but they are all still load shedding during their time.
Yeah.
Look, it's like what we say that bakolwe second pato. So sometimes I think for now we cannot concentrate so much on the criticism of the PF. We should, I think, give time to the UPND to also add their value in terms of solving the problem of electricity in the country.
Yeah.
So they have just been 1 year, 4 months in power. Every political commentators will tell you that this is not long enough time to be able to transform an economy. Yes. So the guys who are laughing at the UPND government now, especially the opposition party, I think they are being a little bit unfair in terms of judging the UPND government. We shall see after 5 years how they have dealt with this issue. Maybe not 5 years, in 3 years' time, how they have dealt with the issue of electricity. And then we can make inferences regarding their performance on this issue.
Yeah, one of the things that they brought in earlier, just when they entered in the government structure, the new dawn, was to work on how they are going to bring efficiencies to the energy sector, particularly in the operations of ZESCO. And they have those ideas. I think they engaged a consultant, which is a company to conduct a research with a view to re-engineer the processes at ZESCO, where they can separate the generation from transmission and distribution. They can separate those 3 different segments, and each one, each section of that having specific targets. Where we separate generation of electricity to transmission and distribution. And then you will be able to unleash those 3 enterprises in one to see if you can fix the problem. The downside is the engineering aspect of it. The engineering aspect of it cannot be fixed in just a few months. They need a little bit more space to be able to function and work. Nobody, even us who don't do government jobs, you can't just get in a job. But happen if you are not good at everything. No, 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 no.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
The government is actually a bureaucracy. Government is a bureaucracy, which means that in order for us to successfully operate that bureaucracy, we have to calibrate it and adjust the system so that each positive element of it is feeding another positive element, and they're feeding off of each other's energy to resolve the problems of the country. Yeah, but what we need to hear from these guys is we need to hear more government voices, not giving excuses about water, but giving a blueprint of how that is going to be resolved in the next year, in the next 2 years, in the next 3 years. We need to hear more about what they're doing on that. Yeah, we can throw some ideas at them. We can even give some counseling on what should be done. But I think they need to get on the job and and put forward a blueprint and tell the nation this is how we are moving in this. I think that's what I think
Yeah.
it would be
Yeah.
constructive to ask for that. What do you think, Dr. Mutali?
Yeah, you are quite right, Dr. Kasonso. I think very often when you sometimes get into power, it seems that most governments seem to forget about their their manifestos
Mhm.
and the ticket on which they were riding for them to be voted. I think one of the problems that was very clear for Zambia at the time UPND was in opposition was lack of electricity in the country,
Mhm.
load shedding. Now, I think when UPND came into power, we must have had good rains.
Yeah.
So we kind of had no load shedding for quite some time.
Mhm.
And because of that, we thought that we forgot about that problem, and we there
Mhm.
were no voices coming out because for months there were no power cuts in Zambia. I remember Dr. Kasonso in August 2022. I was in Zambia. I was quite amazed that not a single day of the time that I was
Mhm.
was there any load shedding. Every day there was electricity, which was a good thing. So we almost kind of got into the comfort zone and forgot about that the dry months are
Mhm.
coming
Mhm.
when there's not going to be electricity. So what I'm trying to say in short is what you have spoken about, that there must be communication.
Yeah.
The government must be telling us
Yeah.
what they are doing
Yeah.
about the issues of electricity,
Yeah.
so that we avoid load shedding in future. What are the plans? What are the plans that are in place? We are not hearing of any infrastructure which is being unveiled
Mhm.
that is going to stop load shedding in future. If we hear more of these things coming to us, the government talking to us
Mhm.
to say, we are putting up this, we are putting up with this, we are putting up this, in 2 years' time or 3 years' time, load shedding will be a thing of the past. But we are not getting any of that kind of information.
Yeah.
This can relate to any other infrastructure. Maybe we've seen some developments in terms of road network.
Mhm.
They are doing the Mong Road and
Mhm.
some parts of the northern corridor. They are working on that. What about other issues that
Doctor,
that
does
government
this
is
interest
writing on?
this interesting question from
Yes.
From a viewer. It says, "Where is the Minister of Energy? Can she?" To ask you any question.
The Minister of Energy. Look, I don't even remember who is the Minister of Energy, but I think at the time we were talking about this
Mm-hmm.
Indeni and how it was going to be divided into two components, that there will be refinery and there will be another component which will be dealing with production there. I think his name came about. Maybe one of the viewers can tell us who is the Minister of Energy, and then we can hear from him or from them what they are doing about most of these issues that we are talking about, because this is also related. Electricity is also related to the issue of fuel in the country.
Mm-hmm.
When are we going to start producing our own fuel,
Mm-hmm.
our own diesel or petrol? I have heard that there is potential for us to produce some of these components locally.
Yeah, yeah. So we have consensus on one issue. We want communication because when you listen to the opposition voices, they don't have any solutions, and they have the old populist trump card where their pitch is only to say abantu barechula.
Yes.
Abantu barechula. Abantu kale bamba okuchula. Na nechalapo chatampira, even Zambia was rafted in poverty. But what we need to talk about is not how abantu barechula. What we need
Yeah.
to, what we need to talk about is how we solve the problems of the nation as a whole, so that our lechule number shachepako. Because our lechula at any given time, tukakwata, we'll always have those. Yeah, but what we need to do is investigate or even propose public policies that can help curb mass problems, the problems that are being faced by the majority of our people. I think that's the kind of politics I want to hear more from our people who are in opposition, not just to highlight how dark it is when the lights have gone. The darkness, we've always had it from load shedding, and load shedding has been here. It's not a new phenomenon. Not only go and highlight if you want to, tabale kubanisha if you go
Yeah.
back almost 8 years ago, Picket Shala was here telling us where, tatule ikuto bwali bule che papa mitengo ya vunga na inina. Mitengo ya vunga inina fem boemia kayonse through whichever government put in there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think the politics we are going to demand for are those that come suggest solutions and put a public policy that even those in government can take that and change the course of the nation with it. Then when they do it, you
Yeah.
stand up on the podium and say, hey, I am the one who owns that idea, and I told them, they did it, and we succeeded as a country. Now let me put my hands on the deck to control this thing. So, but
Yeah.
anyway,
Yeah.
we
I think you are right, Dr. Kasonso. That
Mhm.
is the constructivism, criticism which we want. Most of our opposition party, I think, some of the issues that they are dealing with are personal,
Yeah.
instead of dealing with national issues
Mhm.
and how we are going to solve them. For instance, if they are really they really want to assist the government in governing the nation, why
Mhm.
don't you come up with proper solution on the energy issue, for example, in the country, not just to go and be talking on the media without proper research. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Tony back. Greetings.
Hello, doctor.
How are you doing today?
I am doing fine. How are you?
I'm fantastic. I'm chatting here with Dr. Mtale. we are chatting about how we can fix the problem of electricity in Zambia. What are your thoughts on that?
Okay, the electricity problem in Zambia.
Yes.
Okay, since I found the discussion in the middle.
Welcome, welcome, Mr. Banks.
Thank you so much, Tobias, right?
Are you related to Linda Banks?
I am related to the doctor here.
Okay, okay, I see, I see.
Tony Banks is the young brother, and I'm the big
Okay,
brother. Yeah. So what we're
I see.
discussing here is the perennial problem of the electric grid in Zambia that put us now in a situation where we have to have load shedding. And we used to have load shedding in previous governments, in the last government. We even invested billions of dollars in infrastructure in Zambia. So now, what's the deal? We have isolated some of the problems of the system and structure of the power grid. But what we are now thinking about, what are some of the proposals and solutions of what we can do? Here we have proposed we need some solar energy options. The Green Ministry needs to show us the blueprint. And we have also mentioned on alternative sources of energy. Yeah. So anyway, looks like Tony Banks is having problems with his line. So now we are brainstorming here. We're trying to throw out solutions. How do we resolve the problem of load shedding in Zambia? How do we improve the power grid? There are 20 million people now. Do we have enough wattage? We always keep complaining about water, the flood problem. Yeah, but what about the planning part of it? What are we doing? What is the blueprint going forward to resolve this issue?
Thank you, Dr. Kasonso, for the explanation. I will come in and explain it in this way and give a few solutions. So I have been in this country close to 13 years now.
Mm-hmm.
And what I have learned about the energy sector, and especially the provision of electricity, is that these electrical companies are privately owned.
Mm-hmm.
Most recently, some are privately owned and some are government owned. Here where I am in Rossville, it's the city that provides electricity. But the whole issue, and then the heating is provided by a private company, PGE. And then recently I was in Virginia. Actually, that was actually a cooperative, which the residents there have shares. And then, they have management that manage the cooperative that provides electricity to the city or to the location I was.
Yeah.
So when you look at the problem in Zambia, we can take examples of just those few things I've said, and others I'm going to say now, and try and solve this electrical problem in Zambia. So in Zambia, we need to decentralize. We need to decentralize both the production of electricity and also the transmission. We need to decentralize the energy sector.
Yeah.
So decentralizing the energy sector can be by province, it can be by city. I'll give you an example of my home city in Ndola. In Ndola City, if we have a private company or government, whichever one that you want, whether the city of Ndola takes up the mandate of providing electricity to its residents in there, this issue of load shedding is going to be something that will be forgotten, but
Okay.
that will take time. So
Okay.
that will take time. But government has to take, or the people of Zambia and government has to take keen interest in decentralizing both the production and also the delivery of electricity to either provincial level or to the city level. So in terms of managing, you can either manage it by city government or provincial government, or you can give a private company to run the production and also the transmission. So how is this going to work? Those now we can leave that to the technocrats to work the way that this can be managed. But electricity in Zambia need to be decentralized.
Yeah. So I get your point. Let's review your point. But first, let's welcome Father Pombo. Father Pombo, Father.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Is my phone making noise?
No.
Is it?
Just a little bit, but just yeah. But
Right. Thank you very much. Good evening. I think I can see we have Mr. Tony.
Tony Banks.
Yeah. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm okay. Very well. For us, it's cold here because we are just about 2 degrees Celsius, so it's a little bit cold. But
where are you?
I'm now inside the house, so I think I'm comfortable. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Yeah. So Mr. Banks has proposed that what we need to do with the problem of ZESCO is, make some structural changes, structural or changes in terms of their operation, where we separate generation, from transmission and even the delivery, the distribution of electricity. So I'm sure that is an option that is on the tables. Like, it's a long-term solution. It's not something that we can do next week and we'll fix electricity. The problem that we have with most people in public life in Zambia, they think in terms of what we hear in some circles called a quickie. A quickie is a fast solution. It's a fast solution that can create lots of problems in the long term. So yeah. So Father Mapombo, what do you think about the solutions to create to improve the load shedding situation in the Republic of Zambia?
Thank you very much, and I appreciate for this interesting topic,
Dr.
which is
Gasonso,
quite.
before Father Mpombo proceeds, if we are not talking, can we just mute so that we don't have that echo into the line?
Okay.
In the line.
Right. Okay. Thank you very much. And now I cannot even hear the echo now. Right. The topic is very interesting, and I think also in Zambia it is urgent. It's an urgent matter. I would say that probably I was a bit surprised we were going to face this situation. I never thought where the government, the new Dawn government, is going to face this situation. I thought probably they were ready, and as our president said before, that maybe this issue was going to be an issue of the past. Unfortunately, we have this crisis at hand. So I think the very wise question that Dr. Gasonso have asked, what can be the solution? I would give an example here. In Italy, we don't have energy. We don't have electric supply. In Italy, the whole country, Italians, we buy electricity from France. That's why in Italy, electricity is very expensive. very expensive. Now to curb with the expenses of electricity, they came up with an idea of using gas, natural gas. And now this natural gas was being imported from Russia. We know now the story which is at hand. The gas cannot come from Russia. Hence, if you remember, Dr. Casonso, President Mattarella, the Italian president, made a journey to Southern Africa. One of the countries he went to see was Angola. And in Angola, he clinched a deal to buy natural gas from Angola, because those people they have. And Namibia, he visited these two countries, Angola and Namibia. Now, if the Italians from here, this distance from here, to curb the expenses of electricity, because now the crisis that we have in Zambia, we have it even here, Dr. Kasonso. We have it even here. So the question is, how does a country invest so that they can lessen the expense, also the burden on the citizens, the costs? Then these people, they are resorting to using natural gas. If the Italians can use natural gas to supply in their homes, to use for cooking, to use for machinery inside the home, then I will ask myself, why can't our country as well give it a thinking about importing and the technology? Of course, we need also the technology, because that problem, that solution might also help in curbing the deforestation, which is about 80% in Zambia, if we can compare it to our neighboring countries. Even the Congolese, they don't cut the trees the way Zambia we cut really the trees, because the problem is at hand. Our families, they need to cook, they need to do something. And now we don't have electricity from Kariba. We need firewood. On the other side now, our trees are going. So as an emergency, I would suggest, Dr. Kasonso, that the government can also look in terms of probably investing in this natural gas. Second thing, which is not a short-term solution, of course, we have copper, we have all those resources which are needed. Why can't our nation invest in nuclear power? Because the question of depending on the quantity of water in the Kariba, that question, I don't think it is up to Hakainde Chilema, or it was supposed to be up to Edgar Chagwalungu, or it is going to be up to Dr. Kasonso when he becomes the Zambian president. I don't know that is going to be the solution. I don't think that's going to be the solution. We are not going to wait for water to raise so that the curbing the problem of water load shedding is going to be fought. I would look at in terms of investing in other way of electric supply. Waste, that's one of it. Second, I don't know, these solar panels, because in Kitwe, I'm coming from Kitwe, at Riverside, the CIC, as it's called, the company CIC, they have invested a lot. They have bought a land very close to the broadcasting there, and they are doing this solar panel plant. It's a very huge investment they've done, but is it going to be easy and simple even to sell to private sectors? Question mark. I doubt. I don't know.
Yeah, well, thank you, Father Pombo, for that contribution, and thank you for nominating me to future headship. And I hope the nomination is being taken positively across the country, because we can solve some real problems. Yeah, but that topic aside, what we're interested in is the way to fix the problem in the short term, in the medium term, and in the long term. So let's try to provoke another important topic. It's about citizenship empowerment. You know, the way it is happening in Zambia these days, is that you see a lot of drama-based activities in the media. You'll find even the media is televising concocted story scandals as the news, and we are ignoring the real meat of what is going on. For example, this Friday, the citizenship empowerment group under the government is dishing out loans to startups and small, medium-sized enterprises for different things. Where are the people to try and come and drum up support for these programs? And because we know, for example, that if we are going to fix the problems of abantu balethu Zambia, we have to tackle that problem in many different ways. And we are going to conclude this show by also highlighting some efforts that has been made over the last year to try and tackle the problems of the country. But I think that the solution to mass unemployment, the solution to increasing productivity, low productivity, now we're wanting to increase it, is through local, small, medium-sized investments in enterprise and production activities that can employ one more person and also produce products that can be sold in our cities to replace the products that we are purchasing from other countries, and also produce enough to help us earn forex by exporting to the local countries. And to the extent that we're not doing those things, we are going to be in this funk where we are creating just noise about poverty, and the solutions available are not receiving any attention. So how can we drum up support for these fundings and programs that allow people to take financial resources, create a business plan, put people together, expand their enterprise? I mean, how can we get at this? How can we get at this? How can we get at this? So, Dr. Mtale, did you want to go at that issue?
Can you hear me, Doc? Yeah.
Yes, we can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, that's a very good topic, Dr. Kasonso, empowering citizens, because there is no way a nation can develop if the citizens are not empowered. And obviously, one way of empowering citizens is education. And I think that citizens, money can be dished out, but if people are not given the skills, especially skills in business or what people can use, that if they are not trained in how to use that money which they are being given, then the money will be just wasted, or the funds will just be wasted. So I think that before even loans are given to people, what Zambia needs is training young people in skills. I love especially Germany. One thing that German does so well is training young people in skills, where young people are trained to be engineers, are trained to be plumbers, are trained to be woodworkers, are trained to be good in many skills, such that when they come out of those training schools, they are able to produce things which will add value to the economy, which will help the economy to grow. I think those are the things that we must be looking at. And one of the things that we can be good at Zambia is definitely agriculture. But are we training young people, or are we training our population on how to do agriculture? So we need to look at our comparative advantage. And once we look at our comparative advantage, then we train our young people in those areas, then empower them with loans when they already have those skills and they already know what they want to do, which will add value to our nation. So I love that topic, Dr. Kasonso. It is very important. We have to look at what is our comparative advantage, how can we train our population, and how can we fund them and support them so that they grow as small businesses.
Yeah, another piece, Dr. Mtale, that I would like to add to what you've just said there is, the statistics of survival for startup businesses. Most startup businesses collapse within the first 5 years. So I think that the bulk of those investment portfolios or funding programs should be given to enterprises that have been around for more than 5 years. And then those that have survived those type of storms should also venture into joint partnerships with others in different areas. And those, because they already have the technical know-how on how to manage a business, they can also act as training ground for newcomers and startups if they do joint ventures in different areas where the type of enterprise is not there. For example, if we are trying to boost agricultural enterprise, like we said last week here, one of the things we'd like to see is a country that can grow food in measures beyond what we need to eat, and then we can export some of the foodstuffs to the neighboring countries to earn us some extra resources. That is another way to actually shore up the currency. So, Mr. Banks, did you want to contribute on this topic on how we can on some ideas on small business development and citizens empowerment, getting capital from the government? You're on mute. You can unmute yourself.
Yes, Dr. Kasonso. I will add to a point to a point that Mr. Pombo gave when he talked about education, that to empower citizens is to educate citizens, especially in our economy, Zambia. You know that if you are not educated, in Bemba we say nishikawa. Kumie suku Zambia. For you to make it, you have to pass your grade 7, your grade 9, and your grade 12, especially with flying colors in Golefu and bursary ya kuunza. So whatever got pass of a packet favor, then you have a number ya ku, with due respect, na fweko to teaching, kurivu kapokola, whatever ponaponako and all that. Yeah, so and you find that for the majority of time in Zambia, I think I'm not a good student of history, but I know that if you want a government bursary, which we can call empowerment in terms of education, if we were 6 points, 6 to 15 points. So go 20, it's like nishta partially. So in that area, the government can actually standardize the scheme of bursary to include everyone wanting to go to any college. So if you want to go and do plumbing, or lefokuya panoteki, or lefokuya trade school, lefokuya teaching and all those. But government vale pay bursary the same way they give the bursary to university students. That way you are actually giving opportunities to every citizen, regardless of how they fared at their grade 12. So I think that scheme need to be looked at. I might be privy to what the government is doing now. I'm not sure on that one, but I'm looking at it from the time I was in Zambia. In terms of empowerment in education, aba paunza ebo tumfuafi nangu kuchita strike at yo ndaramata bapere na mabweba alepo safia ba ichebeka badi ngatawile paunza mabwete tu poseko miwa allowance tamwa yumfuati, it is important to you. So the government has been successful governments have been very unfair to the majority of its citizens. It's been discriminating them actually. So in terms of empowering them in education, I think we need to come up to a system where in the Lama Shirikwesha bursary that the government sets aside, it cuts across every Zambian, regardless of the level of points they got at grade 12.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Banks. Father.
For empowerment, I think citizen empowerment is fundamental. It's well. There must be some noise again. All right. Okay. Yeah. Right. On citizen empowerment, I support that idea. It's fundamental. Actually, I was one of the people who was against.
Mr. Tony can again just mute, please. Mr. Tony, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tony. Yeah, thank you. Right, I was saying, I think I supported that even before the elections last year, 2019. Why? Because the former government, Dr. Sonso, they invested a lot. This is what they have told us all the time. They invested a lot in shopping malls. One of the infrastructures that the former government invested in their 7-year of tenure of office was in construction of shopping malls. Now, I'm not against a shopping mall. It's okay. But I want to tell you what we have understood also here in Italy. When you construct these big industries and nenda lama fishonse ngashaya mo shopping mo efyakulya efingiramo fyafuma kumbi indalama ababika mu shopping mo ni bena Zambia ni fwebo twasonka ero shafuma shopping mo shakwisa indalama shija tashendera mu Zambia. Now this is a disaster for an economy. It's a total disaster. The structure is beautiful. And I understand some of the shopping malls will be handed over to Zambia after 15 years, which means they will be destroyed and they need renovations. So I'm a shopping mall walipanga, infrastructure walipanga, but the money, where does the money goes? Joseph ma shopping mall kukitwe ndola. Everywhere, Dr. Kusons. In Zambia, there is a culture. Female akwati wowa ama shopping malls. Number. I did a video, a cricket video, Dr. Kusons. I went on the streets here. What the Italians they do to empower the citizens. Allow me to talk about one what can I say? Topic here. Market transactions, the marketeers, whatever, as a mode of empowering the citizens. What do they do in Italy? They like the decentralization in Zambia. To decentralize is fantastic, wonderful. So what they do is kundeke kukitwe nangu tuafya pa Riverside. They do open market. They decide certain roads to block, so that all the citizens, they can do the transactions on the street in an orderly manner. That money circulates and goes in the pockets of the ordinary and citizens of Zambia first. And they do that practice 2 times in a week. One is on Wednesday, and the other one is on Saturday, Dr. Kasonso, from 07 in the morning until 13 hours. 15 hours, the town is clean, everything is out from the roads, and the shops, they go back to an ordinary work and lovely and beauty. Now, this way of doing, it's quite clean, and it empowers an ordinary gentleman who grows tomatoes and pasta there to go and sell or once or twice in a week. He doesn't have to own a shop. So he does, and I think it's going to be quite, it's a way of empowering our citizens. Otherwise, investing in big companies, their money goes round us and we don't see it. Hence, circulation of cash is less.
Yeah, I agree with you, Father, on empowering citizens at the local level. There were marketeer poster loans of 5,000 kwatas that were given out this year. We don't talk about that. So let me just, before I solicit your last comments on this issue.
Dr. Kasonso, before you move to another, yeah, I would like to pick up on what Tony said regarding education there, which is the point that I was also speaking about on earlier.
Yeah.
Especially on the issue of overlooking This is one way in which we shoot ourselves into our own feet. Because what we need to do as a nation, we must look at every person as capable of doing something in a nation or contributing to the nation.
Yes.
For instance, in the rural areas, there are many young people, both men and women, who can be developed into something very productive. For instance, those young people in a socialist state, they don't choose. They will, for example, put up training centers in the village. Kumushikulia mwafuma vakasonso. Even you, Vampombo, kumushikulia mwafuma. What training centers are there for the village, for the villages? Are there training centers on how young people can improve on fisheries? Are there training centers on how those young people in the rural areas can be mechanics, can be builders, can build homes, or can be for instance, can be people who can work on wood? So in the rural areas, we must not shun rural development. We must make sure that in the rural areas, there are also training center. A young people who has not gone to school can still acquire skills to take them into the future, for them to develop and be able to contribute to the GDP of the nation. So I do feel that we should not overlook the people who have not gone to school. Every person in the rural area is able to be trained and become something that can contribute to the development of the nation. So like German, I said, there they do not overlook anybody. They take even those who have not done so well and train them to be shoemakers. They make shoes. That's why that name is there. They are shoemakers. Some they are engineers. Some they are very good carpenters. Some they are into agriculture. Some they do all sorts of things. Even making that electricity we are talking about, it's not graduates. Graduates are busy doing other things. And professors like yourself, Dr. Kasonso, they are teaching into the university, they are doing research, Everyone must have a place in an economy like Zambia. If we overlook people, we are overlooking the development of Zambia.
Yes, excellent.
Bajja bakachema tulyatuuka chema twakumushi.
Mhm,
Utu chitenandikane utu cheme ng'ombe.
mhm,
They need more skills on looking after the cows, how they can look after the cows, how they can turn the skin of the cow into shoes, and
mhm,
many other skills, and they will be better than what they are. This is what has made Switzerland. This is what has made Austria. This is what has made German. This is what has made Italy, the Italy that we are talking about. It
mhm.
is skills. People are using their hands to develop the nation. So we can do it if we train everybody.
Excellent, excellent, Dr. Mtale. Excellent. I appreciate your input on that. So what we're advocating for on this platform is something for everyone. Something for everyone. No youth left behind. No human being left behind. Everybody has to have something to touch on. So as we head towards the close, amalighting anaya ku Zambia, bantu bale tukana sana ensele afutana bakola chiboko. So I want to remind them that the country has not closed just because of load shedding. There are some things that this government did last year, which we appreciate. We want to come back at the end of this year with a new scorecard. So I was sent this scorecard, and I'm going to just read the things that are in this scorecard. What the New Dawn government did, they made an investment in free education for the children, for the children of Zambia. That is a check mark. It's a scorecard. The same government that is failing to control load shedding did something good somewhere else on which we can build. We would like to see load shedding corrected this year to join the scorecard for 2023. So, but for the 2022, the scorecard is number one, free education for children. Number two, CDF like never seen before, where communities can now determine their own path to local development. So people should not focus on negative stories on social media, but should go to their local government, local department, and go there and access constituency development funds. We have talked about these multiple times to remove the bottlenecks and make them accessible to everyone. So that is a positive development. Number three, economy back to positive growth as seen by the increase in investment levels. Investment levels, most of them at this stage are in pledges, a rise by 57%. But we have to continue working hard and working constructively to realize those inflows of the FDI. Number four, over 40,000 public sector jobs and still counting. These to me look like investments in people rather than investment in structures. So these investments have been made, 40,000 public sector jobs and still counting. That is a dent, a dent in the problem. And now we would like to see the scorecard increase this year on that score. Inflation down from 24% to much less than 10%. Yeah, there is a way in which these stats are looking good, but now we need to increase more interventions for people to feel the good stats in their pocket, in their bank account, in their daily way of life, in their way of life. Number six, public pension reforms well on course with ZNPF done and now NAPSA on the way. Seven, students' meal allowances back was those niggling loans deductions for former students well under consideration. Number eight, the entire backlog of pension arrears cleared. So the pensioners, backlog of pensioners has been cleared. That's a positive development, meaning payments were made for pensioners in the Republic of Zambia. Yeah, local government equalization fund arrears cleared and all payments not now up to date. That is a positive development. 10, democracy is back as those who got used to the sound of bullets and the smell of tear gas and the pangas from the cadres. So there is liberty in the country. People can talk. And unfortunately, most negative talkers are just, just talking to talk. But that is a country. So democracy is back. So when we hear them talk, it is a check mark for the new Dawn administration. 11, the COVID-19 pandemic, which threatened our economy and our lives and livelihoods, also it's been brought under control. So the scorecard has 11 points on it, and I've reviewed it. We are sincere people. We have to give credit where it's due. That is work done. But unfortunately, that is now in the past tense. We need new, serious, and more significant accomplishments than that. That's the challenge we are setting up for this administration. So, my friends, what are you going to say? Who am I going to start with? I will start with the father, and I will end with Dr. Mtale. Then we'll close the show. What are your closing remarks? Unmute yourself.
Yeah, I was saying, I think the points well known, but I would love as well to say that when I think to generalize that like pensioners have been cleared, Dr. Kasonson, that one probably some small challenges are still there. We can see some people they're still complaining. They have not yet received their pensions. Of course, there might be situations, sporadic situations here and there, but otherwise we thank them. I still remain with some challenges which are key, like the so-called load shedding. At the beginning of last year, it was a tick point. Our president said you can tick, that one is done. Now we are going a little bit back. And so that, I think, for the UPND, should call them to moderation, because, we all make mistakes. Some mistakes can be made. Otherwise, on education, it's a kudos to the government. It's fundamental education, because Ubututu is very, very costly. Ubututu has damaged our country. Ubututu has damaged African continent. So education is costly. I would only make a caution by Dr. Kasonso. When sponsoring AMA students, somebody from the UK said they are asking for nurses here in the UK. They are asking for qualified personnel to go to the UK. The same thing they do from here, Italy. They're asking for 2,000 qualified African people. And the same thing the people from Canada are asking. Now, on this invitation of qualified personnel out of the country, I would like to encourage our government maybe to sponsor these students inside the country. I have also made a pledge. I'm helping in Luapula. I'm helping some of my friends. I'm helping in Luansha. I'm helping in Kitwe. I'm helping in Lusaka. What I've learned from here, I'm helping. But I think we also need qualified students to remain in our country, because if the students they go out of our country, Dr. Kasonso, I think also that one is a damage to the nation, because more in Zambia, I think it's mashallah, avena Boma Lusambo, avena can remind Sheva Shalamo, then the other people they go outside. So on that point, I think napena government, abantu abali so intelligent if the government can sponsor them so that they make tomorrow an investment for Zambia, I submit. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. Keep up the very good work.
Thank you, Father, for showing up. It's a wonderful thing to have you all the time, and your ideas are helpful to our viewers and the country. Yes, Mr. Banks, your turn to give closing remarks. You are on mute. You have to unmute.
On a lighter note, Bowman Losambo is my friend. So, ngeba shala mumchalo, dishilesebo echalo apadile, ukwewa teba la shala kaito alibutuka moifwe. Anyway. To alibutuka moifwe. My closing remarks, Pama topics to Achilanda po. I hope the government is listening, and maybe they go back to listen, and because of the load shedding that is happening there. Is as for the load shedding, this every government that will come, they'll face it unless we look at solutions both for now and solutions for the future. So, in closing remarks, that's what I would just say to say. Because of the political nature of the road shedding, even when we attend to it now, and we just kick the can down the road, is to try as a government or as a country to invest in infrastructure, energy infrastructure that will solve these problems, even for the next government or for the next generations that will come. While you can look at the immediate solutions, they should be building plans and executing those plans that will actually solve this problem for the next generations of Zambians as well. Those will be my closing remarks.
Thank you, Mr. Banks. Dr. Mtale, your closing remarks. You're on mute, Dr. Mtale. Can you unmute yourself? Mr. Banks, you can go on mute.
Thank you, Dr. Kasonso, for that opportunity to give my few final remarks. One thing I want to commend the government from the very beginning is that they started investing in people via free education. I want to say that the government must continue investing in people, because educated human capital is very important for our nation. We need an educated nation. But even to go beyond that, even those who are not educated at first, the government must also find a way to develop them, especially to train them in skills. That's one point. The second thing I think, which I did not see on the scorecard, is that the government must continue fighting corruption.
Yes.
Fight corruption, fight corruption, fight corruption,
Yes.
fight corruption. And we will rally behind you in terms of fighting corruption. So well done. People might be saying you have not achieved much, that goal of fighting corruption, but by the fact that you are emphasizing it, you are picking the people who are involved in corruption and trying to charge them, you are on the right track. So fight corruption again and again and again. The last one, Dr. Kasonso, is that load shedding is going to be a challenge to the nation, and that might actually it's going to disrupt our development. But we say that the government must continue working on that issue as well, so that it does not become as an impediment to the development we want to see in 2023, 2024, and 2025 when we vote again.
Thank you, Dr. Mtale. Thank you so much, my friends, for coming to chat with me and speaking to our countrymen at home and abroad. We thank you for your viewership there in Chibombo, in Lundazi, in Chipata, in Ndola, in Chingola, in Solwezi, in Livingstone, and those of you outside of the country, in Botswana, in the sub-region, in South Africa, and even in Jamaica, we have some fans. We have some great viewers. We're so thankful for you, and please throw some ideas at us if there are topics you want us to talk about. But in my mother's village, they taught us that so uteko tule utashako patu nono dotinoto tule munatu nono babombere, but ukusesha economy from negative to positive tepa nono hapo bakalamba sana mwabombeni bashiko. But we would like to conclude that we have talked here in this show, we have talked about the load shedding problem in Zambia. Here at Bonano TV, we believe that everything rises or falls on leadership. So ngakuri load shedding ni president ni problem ya kwakateka. Part of leadership is solving the national problems. We support a good effort, and we are looking forward to see the emergence and the rise of leadership to resolve this important problem in the country. And then on citizenship empowerment applications, we are looking to the leadership to actually beat the drum for people to go out and appropriate the resources available, to invest in the economy, to get everybody working, not just chattering on social media or listening to Mashiriaret. We need a drum beat for citizen empowerment applications. There is this Friday. This Friday they're closing up for those applications, but there are other applications, the small business enterprises. Then we have reviewed the new Dawn scorecard for 2022, and we are now saying that is the past, and we expect the scorecard to double this year, so that incremental improvements can continue to be made. And as my father's cousins would say, kuilambaye kwesu nabo kulimwa kuweme kumwana molubono impindi nomba ya Africa tie kwesu kulima. Let's feed ourselves and let's make this country strong, and together we can do it. Together we can do it. Goodbye from us. Please remember to send us kudos and send us messages and share this broadcast and the topics that we have discussed. Bye for now, and we will come back again.